welcome to Four Lads Monday Night Podcast. My name is Stevie Clifford. I'm your host this evening. Our regular host, Andrew, has bailed out on us, but I'm delighted to be joined by Shona, McLean and Kenny Stewart. Kenny, good evening, mate. How are you?
I'm not too bad, buddy. I hope you're well fed and sorted.
Yeah, raring to go, apparently. Shona, how are you?
Good. We've made a decent signing today, so we've got something to talk about.
We do. We'll come to that. But first of all, we last podded Friday night, and then true to form, Saturday announcement came about released players. We have the 5 that were released. We expected they were going. But Ryan Jack, John Lundstrom, Borna Barisic, John McLaughlin and Kemar Roofe have left the club. I don't think there's any major surprises. There was an ongoing rumour that Ryan Jack was getting a renewal, which I think concerned or at least became a discussion point for most people. That has not happened, and all have gone. Kenny, what's your thoughts? Is it the right time for them to have departed?
I think so, yeah. I think, actually, with every one of them, I think that there was this whole thing with John Lundstrom, will he, won't he? Obviously, the manager likes him. Don't know if it's been a money thing. I think it probably is. But his form in the last few months had dropped right off a cliff. The rest of them, let's be honest, they had to. Ryan Jack, I like Ryan Jack as a player, like him a lot. But his injuries over the last 18 months have been just totally horrendous. Kemar Roofe, well, we talked about him a couple of months ago. We both said he won't do anything in this run-in. He's just injury prone and a fine player if he's fit, but he's not. And the other two were Borna's past his best, and McLaughlin is, he's proven he's not really up to scratch, is he? And I mean that no disrespect. I just think that he's not a Rangers goalkeeper. And yeah, time for them all to go, I think, Stevie, just in the sense that we do need a new freshness. We need new blood, younger players, something to get excited about, I would think.
Shona, any disagreements in that?
No, I think Kenny's kind of summed it up quite nicely. I think a lot of them have brought a lot to this football club in the last couple of years, but I think their time is up. And when you're saving nearly the best part of nearly £100,000 a week or more on these players, I think it's time for us to look in a different direction. I think we'll go on to discuss that about Niles Coppin, about the direction that he's planning on going into, especially the players that he's brought in. So look, I think like Kenny says, they've done their bit for Rangers. I think if out of all the players, if I wanted any of them to stay, it probably would have been Ryan Jack. But I think you've got to take in the injury concerns that he's had, even though he's managed to get himself on the pitch tonight for Scotland. So that was something else, isn't it? But yeah, like I think his time is up for me. But yeah, like they had to all move on. And when you're saving that kind of money per week, you're talking the best part of nearly £400,000 to £500,000 a month. I think we can use that money elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could make a decent stab for saying one of the two of them could have said John Lundstrom's probably the most obvious answer. But John Lundstrom, when he was good for Rangers, he was good for Rangers. Obviously scored that massive winner in the semi-final to take us to Seville. Had a fine form for a few months here and there, but overall I think John Lundstrom's been a disappointment. I've never been a massive fan. I think that he just isn't the kind of midfielder I like, and I was brought up with a different kind of midfielder, and I like different kind of midfielders that we've got in our squad, and I'm not a huge fan of John. I think that he, tempo-wise and things like that, isn't the best. For me, I think that he slows it down quite a lot, which I don't like. If you look at the difference in speed of our game in the last 5 minutes of that Scottish Cup final when he came on, it only was 5 minutes. I think that kind of told me at the time that I'm not a huge fan of his game. Ryan Jack, I much prefer. I think Ryan Jack and John Lundstrom together had some great games for Rangers. I'm the same as you guys, like in that he maybe could have sneaked one, but Borna's time had come and gone. I think Borna for 6 years here has been a really good acquisition for the best part of £1.75, £2 million perhaps. And I think he's more than repaid his worth with some fabulous assists and goals and moments and moves and stuff like that. So Borna Barisic at his prime, storming down the wing and crossing it in for Alfredo and Porto is spot on Borna. So I think all of them have given us moments. Kamar Roof gave us that unbelievable goal, didn't he, out in Belgium, and that was just unreal from him. Probably the finest goal I've ever seen for Rangers, in all honesty.
Me too.
And during 55, he was incredible, wasn't he? So I think it's fair to say, guys, that although it is the right time, they gave us moments, didn't they?
Yeah, my abiding memory of Borna Barisic is actually the game against was it FC? Was it Zurich? Was it Grasshopper Zurich? Do you remember that when he was going down to take the corner in the Europa League?
Young Boys, was it perhaps?
Yeah, you're right. It was. And he was going down to take the corner, and they were giving him it tight, and he was just giving it all that. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. I remember I was up the other end of the stadium that night and howling with laughter at him. Absolutely brilliant. Fine player. Little bit like perhaps James Tavernier. I think he's lost a yard, Stevie. I think over the last 18 months, you can tell he's lost a yard, and his concentration's not been the same either. So, yeah, thanks for everything. Did as you say, for the money, he's done a fine job for us, but it is time to move on. Yeah, Kamar Roof's goal, that will live in me. The Leipzig game in general, but Lundstrom's goal, that'll go into folklore, won't it? I mean, it is literally folklore. It'll go down in history. So, yeah, thanks for everything from all of them. But yeah, let's move forward.
Shona, John McLaughlin had his big shot at glory, didn't he? And then that Kilmarnock away game under Michael Beale in the 3-2 win for Rangers, he threw a couple in that night, and we never seen him again. Just to finally kind of sum it up, I think on the guys that left, they all did give us moments. Not going to ask you if it's the right time, we've already done that, but abiding memories of them.
Well, there's not much with John McLaughlin. I think he made that cracking save against Ross County with his feet, and that was probably the end of story for him. That's probably his highlight. So, but no, you've got Borna Barisic. I think Borna Barisic has, 32 assists and around about 8 goals. And then I just remember him from when he was in that cup game, and it was like, I apologise for nothing when he stole the big flag off the Union Bears. Oh, prime Borna. But yeah, look, we've had Borna Barisic, we've had the likes of, I think he scored, did he not score a cracking free kick against, was it St Mirren? Or is it St Johnstone? One of the two. From quite far out. So yeah, we've had him, and then you've obviously got Kamar Roof. Kamar Roof cost us quite a considerable amount of money for what we got back from him, but I think he still managed 36 goals and 90 odd appearances. But yeah, he'll always be remembered for that moment against Standard Liège, and what a goal that was. So in tough conditions as well, I think, when he nutmegged that player and took about another 3 players on, and God, did we all think that, well, what's he doing here when he's shooting from about 50 yards out from the halfway line? But yeah, it was some goal. I think was that during COVID as well, if I remember rightly. So yeah, it was pity that fans couldn't see that in the stadium at the time. I'd love to have heard what the reaction would have been from the fans. And then you've got the likes of Ryan Jack. Look, there's quite a few moments from Ryan Jack, isn't there? Obviously, you've got the moment that happened in the Celtic game when he paid Scott Brown to get that goal, and then obviously the cup final. Is it cup final as well in 2022 against Hearts? They rifled the one into the top corner. So yeah, like, they've all had their moments, haven't they? So, and obviously John Lundstrom will be remembered. For me, Ibrox that night was probably one of the best nights I've ever had at Ibrox. So I thank John Lundstrom for that goal when it went in the back of the net, and I'm pretty sure he'll remember that. It's probably one of his biggest highlights. But like, as I say, we're saving ourselves over the best part of £100,000 a week now. So I think it's just about time that these guys went. But look, credit to the guys. They've done a job for Rangers, but I think it's just time for them to move on.
Moving on ourselves, we did get an announcement this morning at 10 o'clock out the blue. This one, we knew that, or we all had a hunch, I think, that Oscar Cortes was going to be staying at Rangers, but I think there was a wee bit of dubiety about how he would stay. Would we sign him? Would it be a loan for 6 months? Would it be a loan for a year? It turns out he signed on a loan for a year with an obligation to sign him at the end of that, which he'll sign a contract until 2029. So we've essentially just signed him for 5 years. It is, for me, a good signing. I liked him. I liked the look of him. I thought he was starting to hit form. You think about that Hearts game and then Kilmarnock away in that first half until his hamstring popped. He was our most dangerous player on what was a sticky night for us, but a huge night, a huge result. And that Hearts game, I thought he really, really good. Scored a really good goal when he had started to pitch in. He had an assist the week before for Borna and stuff like that. He had assisted for Diamandi in that Hearts game. So he was starting to thrive. And his injury actually had a massive effect on Rangers, on the balance of the team. And we lost the immediate game after that when he wasn't available from Motherwell. And we know what happened after that form-wise. So he is here. Shona, give us some stats on Oscar Cortes before we talk about him a wee bit more.
So he's had 6 appearances. He obviously scored that 1 goal and he got his 2 assists, the ones that you've just obviously mentioned there. I thought he took when he came on and he took that goal. I think it was Tom Lawrence with the assist right across the edge of the box and took it first time. And I think he made an immediate impact. I think his dribbles attempted is quite significant. It's 4.79 per 90 minutes. And if you take that into context, only Ross McCausland is attempting more dribbles than him of any other player in our league. So look, with 2.7 per 90 minutes. So look, for me, I think before, like you said, I think Cortes, before he got injured, the balance and the structure of the team, and I think what was quite refreshing from a lot of Rangers fans when he first did come in was the immediate impact that him and Diamandi had made. I think we've always been saying that for players that have been coming in, making these signings, are they going to make an immediate impact? And I think in that first game, or the second game against Hearts, wasn't it? He made an absolute immediate impact, like you said, for the assist and the goal. But it's just now a case of, now, I don't know about you guys, but like obviously where does he play? Because he has played out naturally out in the right wing for most of his career. I think he can play off the left. But if you look at it this season, and obviously we'll go into Jefte in a minute, but if you've got Jefte, Diamandi on the left, and then you've got the likes of Cortes, Sima, Matondo, you've got the likes of McCausland, who else? Maybe the likes of Mofokeng, if the rumours are true about him. That left-hand side is looking pretty dangerous as far as I'm concerned. And obviously we'll go into Jefte in a minute, but I think the two of them could link up pretty well. But we just have to keep them fit, and I think that's the most important thing for Cortes when he does come back, is make that similar impact that he did when he first came in the January transfer window and kick on for next season.
Kenny, are you pleased with the deal for Cortes?
Yeah, very much so. A bit like yourself, really impressed in the short period that he was fit. And I agree with you again. He gave us a cracking balance on the left-hand side. What impressed me most about him was his, you're talking about stats there, and his dribbling ability, but he was strong for a young kid. He was really strong, could hold people off, played without any fear in terms of, a new league and trying to get to know his opponents and stuff like that. He just went at them. I really like that. I like that ability to not care, if you know what I mean, in a player, just to turn around and say, right, I'm just going to go and attack this guy. And he didn't stop doing that. That's what really impressed me, was no matter what happened, he just kept going. The Hearts game, as you say, he was absolutely fantastic in that game. Really, really impressive. Him and Diamandi, as Shona said. But look, the whether he's going to play on the left or the right, I don't think it really matters at the minute. We can sit here now and look at it and say he's here for 5 years. I think he'll start him on the left. I think that's probably where he will. I think him, and if we do happen to sign Sima, whether we do or not, I think that will be your left and right, and they can both play either side. So that gives you that option right away that you can tinker with it. But yeah, really excited about him because, actually, got to be fair, out of all the signings this season, he was the one that kind of really caught the eye for me. And it was just a shame it was, cut short so quickly, after just 3 or 4 weeks. That was all we really seen him, wasn't it? 4 weeks, I think it was. So yeah. And he looks as if he's delighted to be here as well, which is good, which is always a bonus. A young boy with ambition, so good.
On that potential left-hand side, we obviously signed Jefte last week. We know he's arrived. Shona, there's a wee bit more stats and things have come out about him. So this is what you do on this podcast. So let's chuck it over to you again, Kenny. We'll sit and marvel at this, but we found out a wee bit more about Jefte, and that'll bring us to what we're about to discuss next. But where does stat-wise, what does he bring to Rangers?
So he's had around 31 appearances this season. He's had 3 goals and 4 assists. He is a defender and also attempted the second highest number of crosses, 4.3 out per 90 minutes. No fullback has delivered the more crosses from deep from this season, and he's come in for the second most progressive runs at 2.9 per 90 minutes, and he's very encouraging. If you look at the semblance of balance, he also doesn't have any injury record as well, unlike Ridvan. So there is a massive positive on that side. I think he's obviously 6 foot tall. He's very strong. He's very pacey. He likes to get to the byline. He likes to cut inside. He likes to have a shot and goal. He's very good in the air. I think, like I said, he's got 51% of his long passing, and he's 44% in crossing accuracy. So he's very much a player that I'm really, really looking forward to. And as I says, I do like a Brazilian.
Oh, we're back again. For any that seen Friday, let's not go down that particular channel. But I think I'm living on
Uruguay.
I think I'm living on a prayer basically if I'm wanting to stay away from that kind of chat. But I wanted to discuss the reason we brought up Jefte again is because obviously Cortes is here, Diamandi's already here, Fabio Silva's been and gone, but there's a theme with all these signings, and that is that they're all young, athletic, dynamic type players. Now, I'm going to put this to you both. That we've, for a long time, criticised Rangers in terms of having no kind of structure, no vision in what their strategy and what they're trying to do in the transfer market. Already, it seems like to me that we're identifying young, hopeful players that we can progress and bring on. Like Diamandi, for example, you've seen him in the cup final and you've seen him in previous games that he's got real potential in there. And we need to enhance that and develop it. But if you're looking at Cortes being the same kind of similar kind of player, which I think he is in terms of being able to get ability and make it shine and things like that, then Jefte, I think, is the exact same kind of player as well. So it seems to me like so far the ones that they're bringing in, there's been a real strategy shift. And, Niels Coppin has came in, and I know that we've been looking at Cortes for a while, and Jefte has probably been before him, but he's enhancing that. And I think Diamandi was very much his kind of move. So although it's difficult to say how they'll actually do, I think it's fair that there's been a real strategy and sort of shift in vision of what we're trying to do. And I'll put that to both of you and make this a kind of open forum chat on this one. But it seems positive, Kenny. I've been talking about this for so long that we're signing guys at maybe the top end in their 20s, no sell-on value. What can we do with these guys once they're here? Because if you're paying $4 million for somebody, it's only really going one way. Now it feels like we're doing something that might even be progressive.
Well, for me, first and foremost, Stevie, what Niels Coppin and Philip Clement are doing is building a football team. That's the first thing they're having to do is actually rebuild a football team. They've identified, being blunt about it, a serious lack of energy about the team over the course of this season. You've mentioned it over the weeks here, a lack of legs everywhere, so even when you look at every single signing that we're looking at or being linked with, they're all young. They're all, at an age where you can build your team. He'll no doubt will bring some experience in as well, Stevie. But the simple fact is that is what they're trying to do, with the knowledge that if we can progress them, then that plan, that strategy becomes a natural thing, which is what we've been told by Rangers for the past 3 or 4 or 5 years, that's what they're trying to do, is get this fourth pillar. But then you see, and we're name calling here, but then you see Ross Wilson bringing in guys that are just completely random, and you can't understand the plan. Where is the strategy? So that's what I'm taking from this right away. It's young players, fast, young, energetic players with a strategy to turn around and progress these kids and move them on for vast profit if we can. I'm actually really excited about every single player we're getting linked with. And I don't know if it's just because, as you say, they are younger and their names were not heard of. They're not lads in the championship at 26, 27, 28, which I've had my fill of. I've just watched us do it for years. And, you know, it's not really worked over the piece if you actually look at it. Some of them have, some of them haven't. But trophies are what count at Rangers, and they haven't really brought that. So I don't know what Shona thinks, but that was my kind of take on it. They seem to be really energetic.
Yeah, just to reiterate what Kenny's saying, I totally agree. I think it's all about the energy that they're going to bring. I think quite a lot of them are going to come. We need to work in a market just now where, for instance, they're quite low fees, which I'm quite surprised about, because I think these guys could go for potentially quite bigger fees. And I think at this moment in time, the average player nowadays costs you the best part of £5, £6, £7 million, and that's just the way it is. So it's good to see us working in a market where hopefully these players, I think even some of the players that we've been linked with previously, even likes of Diamondi, Cortes, and the likes of Jefte. I think Jefte's been working under Marcelo at Fluminense as well. That a lot of these players have been linked with Premier League clubs, so we've managed to nick obviously Diamondi in there as well. So look, I think what I've noticed from Clement is we're building a structure to this football team, to bringing in people in their most natural positions. I think we've had guys come in before, the likes of Tom Lawrence, likes of Kieran Dowell, who have came into this club, and I don't really know why we brought them in, because Tom Lawrence for me was always played off the left wing or as a number 10 at Derby County, but we brought him in as a midfielder. So I don't really understand that on quite high wages, obviously injury prone as well. So I think we're looking at a market where we're not bringing in guys who are injury prone. We are bringing in guys who are energy athletic, but also building that structure. So for me, teams nowadays, whether you look at the Premier League or you look outside of Europe, their main structure is to go down the right hand and the left hand side. That's where you get your goals from. I think as well, if you have that structure of your left hand side and your right hand side working really well, and then you've got your legs and the energy in midfield, like Kenny says, I think you build a better team. And then it's obviously now we just need to look at what we're going to do up front, striker wise, to score us those goals. But I think these guys that have came in, the likes of Cortes, he's added something. I think he'll add more goals next year. Hopefully the likes of Sima, if we can get him, he managed to get double figures. I think you've got the likes of Matondo, if he does stay, or McLaughlin, they really need to up their game for next year, because I think you've quite seen from Clement that he's quite ruthless at times, and I think he will be more ruthless. But if we have the likes of Jefte, Diamondi, and the likes of Cortes, that left-hand side is looking really, really strong. It's now trying to build now for the right-hand side, and then obviously look at up front, and then you've obviously got to look at maybe bringing in probably a left-sided centre-back. So once you get that structure right within that footballing setup, you can then build your style of play from there. And I think that's what we'll see going forward. I think every team that you see around, like I said, in the Premiership in Europe, a lot of their goals come down from the left-hand side and the right-hand side, whether that's the fullbacks overlapping or if they come in as inverted fullbacks, and then obviously your wingers contributing. So what we need to find now is not have somebody like our second choice striker, Dessers, scoring 22 goals, and he was the only one that was contributing. We need to have people contributing all over the park, and I think that's what you're going to see. But it's really, really refreshing that we're obviously looking at a different market. I think Niles Coppin probably looked at the likes of, I know that people are saying there that Cortes has probably looked at a couple of years ago by Rangers, but I think obviously Coppin must have identified him when he was at his PSV days as well. So look, I think we're very going much into a market where it's appealing to us for a budget kind of point of view, but also using that market, like Kenny says, that if we go into the player trading model, it probably could help us in the future.
I was reading a piece by Joshua Barry yesterday of the Rangers Review on Hefty. He was talking just about who we're aiming for, and it was really interesting because Adam Thornton and Joshua both commented on it, and both those boys are, I suppose, tactically aware and do tactical pieces for their relevant sites and stuff like that. And the boys were saying that what we're adding, and what it becomes apparent that what we're trying to do is add that pace and athleticism all over the pitch, and not only that, the ability for players to ball carry and beat players one-on-one. And I found it really interesting when I was watching Hefty, the amount of times he sized up his opponent and used raw pace just to get afterburners right past them. And we've not had that for a long time. So I think what happened with Borna Barisic is Borna came in and he was no fear and he was like that, and it very quickly became Borna Barisic getting to the halfway line and then shuttling back. I think that Gio's kind of style of football actually did him quite a lot of harm because he never able to click out of it. And when you watched him, I think that he almost became a defensive type player when Borna Barisic, when he first came to Rangers, was a very attack-minded fullback. So Hefty's one I think excites us because of that willing to attack. And if we can get that right in ball carriers and things, I think that's exciting for what we might be able to see style-wise, folks, in terms of going forward. Do you foresee, Shona, I'll come at you first, but do you foresee more of an attacking style? Because I think that's the way we're setting ourselves up.
Yeah, I think at the very, very start under Clement, we were taking quick throw-ins, we were taking quick free kicks, and what we did notice, I think there was a few goals. I think it might have been I think it might have been the Tavernier goal when he scored when he went through from the halfway line, and it took about 3 touches from the goalkeeper. I think what Clement's trying to do is make that transition very, very fast, very pacey, and hit them on the counter attack when you've got if you've got the ability there for the players. Unfortunately, we've probably not had that with the pace. I think Tavernier's lost his pace, like you said, Borna Barisic. And I think when you want to, what I've said in previous pods before, if you want to go and hit on the counter attack, you need to have everyone going at the same time, and you need to have them clicking all at the same time as well. Whether that's your midfield going from box to box, whether that's your fullbacks overlapping on your wingers, or becoming more inverted, where they become that extra man in the box. And I think that's exactly what I think Clement's going to be able to implement his own style of play, that when we do get possession of that ball, we hit them quick and we hit them on the counter attack, but also as well be clinical in front of goal at the same time. So make sure that when we are going on the counter attack, we're actually making the best use of it. And that's whether, like, for instance, I think at the start of the season, the amount of times that we were hitting the counter attack. Now, even if that goes out for a corner kick, or if it goes out for, if we manage to get a free kick, it then becomes apparent that we're actually getting something out of that, whether it's a set piece or from a corner kick, or, like I said, I think the amount of times that we were taking shots from outside the box as well. If we can have more and more players doing that, creating more forward thinking, we can only then presume that you'll end up scoring more goals.
Kenny, finally, something I think fits into this. You spoke about this quite a lot in the close of the season. Our press was an absolute mess because it lacked energy, didn't it? And you're asking players to do something they're maybe not confident with. If we've got a young, energetic squad, and we'll come slightly to something else in a minute about experience, bring that in and getting that balance right. If we're getting that, surely a more attacking, more pressing outfit is what we will be seeing from Clement.
You would have to presume so, because I think you could see it. You could see it yourself at Ibrox on the touchline. Clement was getting really frustrated at times. You could see it. He's just shaking his head, given it what is happening. And I think that is down to what you're saying is probably about, for me personally, about 70% of it actually is a lack of pace up there. That there's a lack of fitness, a lack of energy up there, that you can go as one. And you two both know this. If you're going to press, you all have to be going together. And if you've got a couple of guys that aren't quite as fit as they should be, they're out of sync. And the minute one goes out of sync, the whole thing goes. So, we can hark back to the first game against Celtic this season at Ibrox and look at that, and I can recall Kamal Roof and Cyril Dessers shouting the ball and screaming at each other at one point, genuinely trying to figure out what they were meant to be doing. And then you can look at the cup final, and Todd Cantwell and Cyril Dessers are pointing at each other. It's been all season, Stevie, and that's been probably Philip Clement's biggest concern, because I think you're absolutely right in terms of the way he wants to play. I don't think Philip Clement too concerned about losing a goal or two in a game. I think he wants to score goals. I think that is his mantra. I think that's his mindset. I think that's his philosophy. I think that's what he wants to do. But you can only really do that when you're breaking transitions and you're taking the ball off of teams high up the pitch. And we've been pretty much, let's not beat about the bush. We've been rank rotten at that all season, Stevie. How many goals have we scored this season where we've actually nicked the ball 25, 30 yards, 40 yards away for somebody's goal and just ran in and scored? We just don't do it. So I think you're bang on with that, actually. I think that energy on the wings in particular is exactly what he's thinking, where he will push those fullbacks up. Those wingers will come in and that press will squeeze, if you know what I mean. And that's where I think you're absolutely right on that, to be honest. I think that's exactly what he's wanting to do.
I don't know what you guys think, but I think at the very start when Clement came in, that's what he was trying to do. But unfortunately, we just don't have the players. What he was trying to do was trying to get as many players in the box at the one time. And there was moments where you did see 4 or 5 of them at the time in the box at the one time. It meant then the defence don't know who to pick up, and we were scoring quite a lot of goals from that. And I think what he needs to do is he needs to get the quality at the front, and if he can get that quality up top, then the more likelihood is that you will score more goals and you will get more opportunities on goal. Unfortunately, what's happened is towards the end of the season, we've only had Dessers in the box because we've had the likes of Silva playing more or less slightly deeper and then having to track back for the likes of Borna Barisic. And then you've obviously had like the likes of maybe McCausland or whoever's been fit out on the right-hand side having to cover for Tavernier because they just don't have the legs anymore. Whereas I think if you've got those legs like he did, it was trying to show a style of play, I think, when he first came in. I don't know what both you think, Stevie and Kenny, when we did have the fullbacks more inverted. And when they became more inverted, it then created a bit of kind of the defence on the opposition team didn't know who to pick up. And it then created space for the person that was coming out from either the left-hand side or the right-hand side to play those balls in. And then we had numbers in the box. The problem is, or we had numbers outside the box where we're taking more shots from outside. I think I've said this to Stevie before. The amount of times I think recently under Clement, not just recently, but over the season, we were taking a lot more shots from outside the box, which would then create more opportunities on goal, whether that's either going for a corner kick or somebody picking up a deflection or somebody picking up, I think Cantwell picked up 2 goals against a team as well, where he managed it, and that was from Tom Lawrence or John Lundstrom from shooting from outside the box. So I think that's what he wants his style of play to be. But if you don't have the right quality in attack to do that and fulfill those moments, then the problem is then your XG or the people up there are not going to be able to just put the ball into the back of the net and be clinical enough.
The perfect example of what you're saying he was trying to do when he first got here was the Sparta Prague game. If you remember both goals we got, that was exactly the Danilo goal, and I think it was Tal Cantwell scored as well. And both those goals were pretty similar in that sense. Danilo's is more of an individual press, if you like, because he took it literally on the 18-yard line, but it was because we were so high up the pitch, and that is what he was trying to do. And I think you're right in terms of what he ended up doing was kind of binning it to a certain degree. Just kind of, we just don't have the players for that. So he's been trying to alter, and we were told that when he came in that he was flexible and he would alter with the squad that he had, and we've seen it over the piece. It's not always worked, we know that, but I totally agree with you, Shona. I think that is exactly what he's trying to do.
Everybody loves a bit of flexibility. So on that note, folks, bearing in mind our time, I'll thank you both. Kenny, thank you for joining us this evening, mate. Loved it.
You too, buddy. Enjoyed that. That was good.
Yep. Shona, thank you very much. Always a pleasure. Stats, and we all enjoy your updates. Hopefully when you join us next, we might have another signing or two, because it's now at that point, isn't it? There's not been many rumours, but delighted to have you here. Appreciate you giving up your time.
Always a pleasure, never a chore, Stevie. So yeah, looking forward to Friday's pod. Hopefully we'll have some transfer news to talk about on Friday, so that'll be interesting. So yeah, guys, thanks very much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you all again on Friday.
Yeah, that's it. Echo what the Shona and Kenny have just said there. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Your support recently has been unreal. Literally thousands of you watching, which is way above our expectations. We love it. We love all the comments. Some don't make it past the screening process, so thank you for them also. And and yes, I do smile, and I'm quite happy smile. So thanks for all those comments as well. But we appreciate it. Please drop us a follow and a like. It really means a lot. And thank you for joining us on Four Lads Had a Dream podcast.